Hey, what's up, buddies? It's Concert Buddy. Got a different type of presentation for you here on this video. See, we did a conversation on Surface Noise, our weekly podcast, video podcast, live stream, whatever you want to call it, that struck a nerve with some folks. And I wanted to address some of this head on. I've been getting a lot of feedback on my social media outlets that people were quite upset, very upset with how we address this genre of music. What I'm talking about, buddies, is what's affectionately or not so affectionately known as butt rock. This is alternative rock music from the 90s and 2000s and stuff that I kind of cut my teeth and grew up on. So I am coming at it with a point of view of love and affection. But unfortunately, it feels, or at least it seems from some of the feedback that I've gotten since the live stream aired, that folks may view that differently. And I'm joined for a hopefully spirited and civil conversation with a very passionate, enthusiastic fan of butt rock. This gentleman reached out to me on all of my social media platforms to let me know how vehemently opposed he was to how we conducted the conversation. And it was a conversation meant to inform and inspire, perhaps, or even just educate folks on this term that I hadn't heard until recently. I believe a lot of the young people today have taken it upon themselves to throw this label at this form or this era of music. And as you'll hear in this conversation, Keith is extremely disappointed how the conversation took place and how we address the genre. So without further ado, we'll get into that conversation with Keith right now. Well, Keith, I want to welcome you to the program or to the channel. Obviously, you were watching our live stream the other evening about this topic, and I want you to share. First of all, I appreciate you taking time to separate yourself from the job site. I believe you're working on a special project, a series of bathhouses in memoriam or in honor of, I believe it was Fred Dobbs. It was the Fred Dobbs bathhouses, something like that. Regardless, thanks for taking time out to share your thoughts. So first thing, when you saw the conversation, what did you think?
I'm telling you right now, stop calling rock music butt rock, or you're gonna get me throwing hands out here.
Now, Keith, it feels like you're getting very heated and very passionate about topic, which I can totally understand, and I would totally identify with.
Jeez, that is the same thing, dude.
The disconnect between how I feel we're attempting to present this material into the light and into the conversation versus maybe how you're receiving it. So
seriously,
first things first, just want to kind of cool the temperature to the conversation because I want to have this in a civil way that we can both leave feeling better about it. So no need for fisticuffs or violence or throwing hands as you're saying. I just want to hear you out.
Hey, I don't care how heated I get. Stop calling it butt rock. Some of us don't like that it's called butt rock, and you don't need to call it butt rock.
Now, Keith, one thing we were talking about on the show was butt rock versus, say, nu metal. You know, I think there is probably an inherent difference between those two. You had some DJs, like DJ Lethal was part of Limp Bizkit. You had just a different sound of like the rap rock kind of infusion of the genres, plural, because I think butt rock and nu metal are two different things. What say you?
Nu metal's the same thing, dude, except those guys have like greasier hair and like mascara and like weird jewelry. Butt rock guys just have like ponytails and sweet beards. Nu metal and butt rock are the same thing, dude. Just sometimes butt rock doesn't need like a rapper in the middle of it. No disrespect to Biscuit, dude. I get down with Fred. I know what Wes is like, dude. He's a good guitar player. But some of us just want straight ahead rock music.
So Keith, help me understand too, again, your passion is evident. It feels like you're taking this conversation very personally in respect to the bands. You feel that we're disrespecting the bands and the fans?
It's a disrespect to all the bands that are playing and the fans of the music.
So Keith, can you help the viewers understand some of the bands that when you hear the term butt rock, who comes to mind? Like, what are some of the bands that you are really a fan or fans of when it comes to this term that we're calling butt rock?
I'm talking about Stained. I'm talking about Hinder. I'm talking about Mud. Puddle of Mud. These bands make a lot of money selling a lot of albums. And you guys are going to call it butt rock?
So is that it? I mean, there's got to be more bands. Can you share some more bands that our folks listening or watching this at home may not be familiar with?
I'm talking about Trapped. I'm talking about freaking Godsmack. I'm talking about Three Doors Down. You combine all their albums together, and it's like 350 million sold, dude.
Now, Keith, I appreciate you sharing some of these bands. Who, in your mind, are the forefathers of this genre? I mean, you hear a lot of bands like Creed or Theory of a Dead Man. Who, in your mind, Keith, who are the Mount Rushmore of some of the butt rock bands?
I'm talking about Nickelback. I'm talking about Saliva. I'm talking about Seether. These are hard-working bands with guys who work hard in the band.
So when you hear the term butt rock, like, what's your first instinct? What is the first thing that rises from your little cockle region all the way up through your gut and through your heart, where this music clearly resides?
I get it, dude. I get it.
Now, Keith, I can appreciate your enthusiasm, and I understand that you are really upset by what you heard us discuss, and you probably thought we were being a little flippant with the topic, but I'm here to tell you is anything but. As a what some have referred to me as a not so genuine record collector, and as a passionate record collector, I do find myself in possession of several butt rock records. In fact, I showed some of these on the live stream proper, but I'm going to show them to you again in case you miss it, because I'm sure you're probably pretty upset. Obviously, I've got to start with the forefathers, in my mind, and that's Creed. Obviously, I really enjoy Mark Tremonti and the work he's done since Creed, when he joined Alter Bridge and Miles Kennedy and so forth. But obviously, if I have a copy of first pressing, mind you, of Human Clay from Creed, I've got to have some kind of skin in the game, right? But it doesn't stop there. I've got arguably one of my favorite albums from that era, my favorite Shinedown record for sure. This is The Sound of Madness. I went to a significant independent record store called Walmart to procure this one. This is on splatter vinyl. I mean, not only is it a prize on the eyes, but it's a revelation for the ears. And matter of fact, this is actually, and no fooling, this is my favorite Shinedown record because a friend of the show, Nick Perry from Silvertide and the Underground Kings and Queens and all that stuff, played guitar on this. He played lead and some great guitar work. And I'm not even, no fooling on that one. But, when it comes to the genre, I think, an often slept on band in terms of the forefathers of the movement is this band called Psychedelic Horseshit. I don't know if you're familiar. They didn't get as much radio airplay as, Breaking Benjamin or some of these other bands Default that are kind of thrown into the genre, right, wrong, or indifferent. But this is a band that, this record is so hard to find and so expensive. This is a very expensive record. This one set me back a significant amount in the form of $8 that I think was probably some of the best money I spent all year. So again, Psychedelic Horseshit, Keith, I think you'd really level up if you added this or listened to this as part of your own butt rock journey.
Sheesh, I'm getting heated, dude. That was a mad sheesh and a sad sheesh.
Keith, I hear you. There's no need to sheesh. There's no need to super sheesh, minor league sheesh. I don't want you sad. I don't want you mad. I just want you to, again, to leave this conversation feeling better about where we've been.
And you know what? For anyone who's calling it butt rock, you're dumb.
Keith, we don't want to name call. We don't want to call people dumb or mean or green or lean or anything that's derogatory. We want to lift the vinyl community up. We don't want to push people down. I know there's certain areas where even my name, I know, Keith, you're going to find this hard to believe, people seem to have a field in front of me for some reason. So as somebody who's been on the other end of those verbal, those oral missiles, it's tough. So let's not go on name calling, because we want to elevate the conversation. We want to inspire, and those haters perspire.
Yeah, dude.
Keith, I appreciate it. Thank you for allowing me to express that. I think that's important as part of this back and forth that we are able to find our differences, identify them, and also accept them and not in a hostile manner.
And I'm not going to let this happen.
All right, Keith, I'm going to give you the final word on this one. What do you want our viewers, our listeners, to impart from your visit? Again, thank you for taking the time. I know it's not easy to step off the job site, especially for something as important as this Fred Dobbs Memorial bathhouse and laboratory. I understand you guys were installing the urinals today, so it's a big day on the job. So, in short, in parting, Keith, how would you like to leave this conversation for our viewers?
It's called rock music, not butt rock.
Well, I have to thank Keith for the conversation, his passion, his enthusiasm, his multiple crazy person emails, and long-winded diatribes that were sent my way, because you can take that one of two ways. You can say this is somebody I need to report to the authorities, or this is somebody who clearly loves Chad Kroeger, Josie Scott, and all the great lyricists and songsmiths that came from this era of music that, quite frankly, I think people could put that up there with the mid to late 60s and 70s, early 70s rock music. Early Led Zeppelin reminds me a lot of early Nickelback. There's so much Canadian influence. So it's a multinational conglomerate of countries and coalition of countries that brought butt rock to the masses. So I think that, above all else, shows peace in our time when, frankly, it's anything but right now.
This program is made possible by annual financial support from viewers like you.
All right, buddies, I appreciate humoring me this corny way to put a bow on our butt rock conversation from the other night. Noise. Again, our live streams every week on Thursdays. A-side I host, B-side Jason Spins, vinyl hosts. A lot of familiar faces. But some people hate it, some people love to hate it. To each their own. But, buddies, if you, see how that kind of came out? That was kind of a bad transition. If you are so inclined and you have some of the butt rock terrific music in your possession, because there's some people who don't. And I was surprised to hear that. But I'm not saying rush out to your local Walmart, but hey, try it on for size. It's like a new shoe. Maybe it's a classic you didn't know you were living in the best of days when they're happening. Regardless, buddies, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching this stupid video and all your support on the channel. It's appreciated. So when you get the chance, buddies, next time you got that Nickelback or you got that Puddle of Mudd album just sitting there waiting to be played on your turntable, guess what, buddies? Just spin it. See you soon.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
Well, we out of time.